Hello there my lovelies, welcome to Erica's Magical Projects. I'm Erica and each week I'm trying to bring a little bit more magic into my life using handicrafts and various magical practices. This week I'm going to be trying to turn all this hand-spun yarn into a poncho. Ready, steady, poncho! In my arms here I have 2,100 grams of hand-spun yarn. I've worked very hard and made 7 different colourways, including 2 art yarns. I'm working on a commission for an artist. She's asked me to make a poncho of wool that she can wear outside while she's teaching her classes. She'd like natural colours reflecting the beauty of the botanical world. I've gone for browns and greens and blacks, and this is very like the art that she makes. She's asked me to make something that's an extension of her beautiful long dreadlocks, and I think this yarn is exactly what I need to start the project. It's a single ply made from a variety of different wools that I've hand carded and blended together before spinning on my country spinner. One of the art yarns is full of locks and the other one is full of coils. I'd really like to add these to the poncho to give it a fantastic effect. I'm imagining these beautiful little locks of alpaca sticking out from the crocheted stitches. I have a pattern, but it's written for a much smaller yarn, and I'm choosing a 7mm hook, so it's going to work up quite quickly, but still going to take quite a while. I've done a couple of test squares, and I'm pretty sure that the stitch definition with this size hook is going to look quite nice. A lot of this yarn contains recycled sari silk, so with these big stitches in mind, as it turns, the silk should glint and glisten and shine. So I've got a plan, and I've got a pattern, and I've got a big pile of yarn, so let's see what I can do. The first thing I've done is draw 4 designs for her to choose from. So the artist has chosen B. So this is what we're aiming for. Well, this is going to be the finished design, and the artist has chosen this particular neckline here, which is a V neckline with a little kind of tie closure. I made a test square using a few different sized hooks. Of course, the main problem here is if I go for a bigger hook, then I'm going to have to alter the pattern more. I chose a 7mm hook. To my mind, this would create a drapey fabric from this very chunky art yarn, capturing pockets of air and creating a warm yet airy piece of clothing. This is the lock yarn that I'm going to cut in. Now I know I'm holding the yarn the wrong way, but crocheting like this allows me to untwist the yarn a little bit, like that, just to get exactly the right tension. Single ply can sometimes be a bit tricky like that. Now here comes a lock, and this is how I am bringing these locks to the front. Pull the whole thing through, make sure the lock's at the front, pull the yarn back, and then carry on with the stitch. Ooh, there we go. And another one. There we go. Just untwisted it a little bit there. And then the lock is lying on the front of the work, and you can just give it a little wiggle to get it absolutely perfect. There we go. I'm on the last row now. It's looking rather exciting. These little fluffy bits are lying on the front very nicely. The final row has a lovely little peacoat. I'm planning on using that little hole there to dangle some fringing from it. To start with, I did these very long tassels on here, but I've decided I'm going to cut them down and do them half the size. And they're going to be a bit shorter, and then I'm going to leave a little bit of room around the edge for her hands to come through where there are no tassels. Oh yes, with every joyful yarn project comes a little bit of annoying weaving in of ends. I gave it a gentle hand wash in wool soap and span the water out. It's finally finished. Here it is. It's almost exactly as I envisaged it to be. I won't put it on because it's not my size. It's not made for me, it's made for somebody else. I'm going to package it up nicely and put it in a really nice box. The highlights for this project for me were being able to be given a free rein to do whatever I wanted, and in the end I chose to do hand spun yarn, and it was a lot of work, but look at how gorgeous it all is. I've used the single ply yarn for the main pattern, some of the fluffy yarn for the odd row here and there, on the bottom a little fringe for the singles, in between each peacoat is a loop of art yarn. This art yarn is used in the collar as well, as the drawstring and also as the tie, and then a couple of very witchy looking tassels on the end there. I think they look a little bit like broomsticks. The textures and the colours have really made me very happy. I can't wait to see it on the artist herself. I think she's going to blend into Dartmoor next time she goes there, and the fairies will want to take her dancing as one of their own. Ooh, floof, floof. Not only is it super magical because I've been thinking about her, this fibre has passed through my hands so many times. I've been thinking about her works going into the world, as this is one of my works going into the world. I want these handmade things to be seen, admired, and for people to see the value in them at last. I've got a lovely box here that I'm going to package it into. Then I added a card with the fibres I have used and some of the yarns. Each one of these yarns has been inspired by something to do with Dartmoor. This one is called Sheep's Tor, this one is Pony, I Shall Wear Midnight, Wisman's Wood, Mushroom Season, and Autumn Bracken. It's a bit silly, I know, but when you make something you really want it to have a personality, so you give it a bit of yourself. And by naming something, I have given it a bit of myself. And the last thing is to bless these items, which I shall be doing in my magic circle later, with my pip essence. Because this stuff really is quite magical. Blessing it with the image of the sun in my mind, bright and brilliant, seen and glorious, celebrated and bought. We artists need to support each other, and I'm very, very grateful to the artist for supporting me in this endeavour. And I know that I've made her something truly magical, because everything handmade is magical. Wow, look how beautiful she is in her magical poncho. Amazing.